Good morning. It is very early. I feel like my lamp is having problems and it's starting to like flicker. Let's see. Let's see if that helps. Okay. So let's work on our little hut some more. Okay. So I finished my white and turquoise. And now let's do our door and our flag and our little life preserver and then the little feet on the bottom. So let's just do the little feet. They'll be really quick. We're just gonna do a couple little stitches. Okay, so I've got my 898 and I'm gonna use all 6 strands just because I don't want to separate them. And we're just gonna do like 2 little stitches on there. So if you want to separate them, you can, but we're just gonna make really quick little stitches. So I'm just gonna do just like 2 little back stitches. Pulling some thread from the back. Okay. Just like this. And then I'm gonna come over here and do the same. We probably could have done this last night, but that's okay. That's it for that. I found an easier way than trying to flip over my hoop stand. I'm just taking it out and putting it back in so that I can show you this a little bit more easily. So I'm just gonna grab onto some of those threads. Okay. That is it for the brown for now. See, so I still have like, hold on to this, we'll use it on another section. Okay, let's do the door first. So I'm gonna use the 3023, which is our gray. And we're gonna kind of do like a basket weave, except not as intense as we've done in the past. Okay, I'm gonna keep with my 6 strands because I want to. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do some horizontal lines like a satin stitch, but we're gonna do spaces in between them. So I'm gonna start, hold on, I gotta, nope, I've got alarms going off. Sorry, I gotta turn this so that it's a little bit closer to me. Okay, let's try that. All right. I'm gonna start doing horizontal lines, and then we will sneak in some vertical ones after. Okay, so what we're gonna do, because we want these to be straight, so I'm gonna lay it across like this so I know where I want it to go, and then I can put my needle down. And then we're not doing a satin stitch, so if we wanted, we could just come up here. So I'm skipping 1, 2, 3 satin stitches, maybe even 2. Let me see what that looks like. Yeah, I kind of want, like, I'm doing it so that there's like 1 stitch in between. Like we're missing like that 1 stitch so that they're a little bit further apart. So if you're wanting to save thread, you really could just go up next to it, or you can come back onto the other side. I'm going to come back to the other side only because I can see those stitches better, so I can kind of keep it a little bit more uniformed. And then I feel like we are at a weird angle. And I don't want these to get crooked, so I'm gonna keep doing this and moving it over. That's not straight, is it? Oh, that's not straight. Let me try again, hold on. That doesn't always work, to go backwards through your fabric, by the way. I feel like it's the weirdest angle every time I look at my camera. Okay. Almost there. Okay. Now what we're gonna do is come back and do this center one. So I'm gonna come up in the middle. And since we have that gap between these, this will be a little bit easier. So we're gonna go over the top one and then under, and then over and under, just every other one. So we're just weaving through those. So what I'm doing is I'm pushing from the back with my finger, just like pushing it up like this when I'm going over so that my needle doesn't snag that. And just go really slowly. You could also do these one at a time. You don't have to do them all at the same time like I'm doing. But we just did over, under, all the way. Now, normally with a basket weave, we would go back and do more vertical lines. I'm not going to do any more vertical lines. But if you wanted to do more, you could. Just make sure when you do your second vertical line that you do it the opposite way. So this first one we went over. So if you were doing another one, you would start under and then it would create like a basket. Okay, but I don't want to do that look. So what I'm going to do now is just finish off the door. So we're going to come over here and do the edge of the door and up into this corner. And then we'll do just one right across the top. And then another one. And then across the bottom. Pull some of that brown. Okay, so there's our door. And then we can kind of move these if we need to, if they got pulled a little funny. Cute. Okay, now if you were smarter than me, you could have thought about ending up here, because now we're just gonna do one little straight stitch for our flagpole, which didn't get drawn very straight, so I'm just gonna do that. Don't worry, that'll erase. All right, so let me tie this off and then we will do the flag and the life preserver. So if I'm kind of far away from the stitch that I'm gonna tie off into, I'll go in it again and create a knot that way. Okay. Now let's do the white first for our life preserver, and then we'll do the red. So let me actually, let's do the red first. Okay. I forgot that I had an idea. All right, this is quite a small detail. Normally I would use 6 strands just because we don't need that much space filled, but it's such a small detail. I'm gonna split mine and do 3 strands. And I'm gonna do red first because you'll see in a minute. It's gonna be fun. Okay. All right, so what we're gonna do is, with our 3 strands, we're gonna do just the 3 red lines. I just realized I didn't satin stitch in the middle of this. That's okay, because we're gonna get our white back out. Okay. Hang on, I gotta scoot this closer to me. Okay, so I'm just gonna do like 2 or 3 red stitches. Darn it, I keep grabbing that little piece of white. So 2 or 3, depending on how thick you want this. That is bugging me. That little stitch is not laying flat. Okay. Now we're gonna do this side. One more. I did 3 before, so I'm gonna stick with that and do 3 here as well. It was easier to start in the middle than to try and come up next to the white, in case you're wondering. Because then I can just put it down where I want it instead of trying to move that white out of the way. One more side here, and then we'll do our little flag too while we have our red out. Oh, and our cross. Okay. We're just gonna leave this red for a moment. We'll come back and do the white, but we already have our red on our needle, so let's just come stitch a little flag. I'm gonna do the same thing and just do like some straight stitches, except now I'm gonna come down here because like down here, it's gonna be easier to go down by the gray instead of trying to come up and not snag it 100 times. So gotta move that out of the way. I think we can fit 2 in here. I'm just gonna finish mine with one little stitch there. Got our cute little flag. All right, so let's come back down here and do our little plus. Now what I would recommend is finding like a stitch that you made. Do you see how it's kind of like coming up in the middle? If you come up in the middle of a stitch like this versus like coming up in between stitches, like if you come up in between stitches like this, you'll have a bigger chance of having like a gap between your threads. So if you come up in between, like in the middle of a stitch, then you won't have like a gap in your threads. And then make sure you're not pulling it too tight, but we'll just do a little plus sign. Now you could do like several stitches, so it's like a little thicker if you wanted. Oh, see, I'm going down between two stitches. So if you wanted to do like a couple of stitches, couple of vertical, couple of horizontal, you totally could. I'm just gonna leave mine like that. And just get this tied off, and then get out some white. Okay. I have a ton of white from yesterday sitting out. Okay. I'm gonna have to do this without it being in my hoop stand because I think it'll be too hard. So what we're gonna do is similar to a woven wagon wheel in that we're gonna do some weaving, but we're gonna go under the red every time, okay? So what we're gonna do is come up and we're gonna go under the red, slide your needle. I like to kind of wiggle mine back and forth and then push up from the back so that I don't snag any of that white fabric or that white thread. And then we're gonna move on to the next spot and do the same thing. And this light got really dim. So then we're gonna go under again. And we're just gonna do that around and around and around. So once we get to there, then we'll start over at the beginning, except we're gonna kind of manipulate it so that it stays. The next one we want to make like a second swirl. This is why I can't put it in a hoop stand, because I gotta turn my hoop in circles. Oh my gosh, this light is flickering so much. I wonder if it'd be better with it just off. No, because then you get shadows. I'm sorry, I gotta get my light fixed. I'm not happy. So once you get to the outer edges, it's gonna get a little bit harder to not like snag that red. But just work slow. So if you don't want to do this, you could also just do what we did with the red and just do it with the white. Just make sure that you are having it fan out. So like starting in the middle and going to the middle, and then coming from an edge and going to the middle, and like fill it in that way. But I think that this is a fun, different way. I saw somebody doing like a flower like this, and I thought, oh my gosh, that is so smart. Because it kind of keeps that like really super round shape without having to really pay attention to where you're putting your threads up and down. I think this is going to be my last time around. That's getting really hard to get through. Hold on. I don't even know if I can get it through one more time. There we go. Yes, I can. Okay. I don't think I can get that down anymore. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come down. And then we can use these 3 strands to do some details. So let me get this in my hoop stand so that I can stop shaking. I'm gonna have to come at you like this from an angle because otherwise you're gonna get a bunch of shadows. I will get my lighting figured out before tomorrow. Okay. So what we're gonna do is I'm just gonna do a straight stitch right from the bottom. Whoops. From the bottom here. And just do 1 straight stitch along this edge. Just to kind of clean up that line. I am not happy with this lighting today. And then we're going to do the same thing with this venting here. Gosh. Okay, that'll just kind of help clean up those lines a little bit. And then we're gonna learn 1 more stitch today and then I will let you go. So we're gonna come back over here. I just wanted to do those edges because I knew that they would be kind of fast. So what we're gonna do to finish the edge of this, oh shoot, we gotta do the center too. You guys, I'm like flustered with this light. So come in the middle and do your satin stitches like we were doing here, but just do them in the middle. And then the edge of this, to kind of clean it up, we're gonna do what's called a stem stitch. I don't know which is worse, the flickering or not being able to see. I think the flickering maybe has stopped. All right, so what we're gonna do is a stem stitch. So we're gonna keep our thread. We're gonna do a stitch around the edge. So we keep our loop out like this, and then when we come back up, we come up in the middle like this, and then we pull our needle towards where we first came up. So we pull it this way, and it creates kind of like a looped, and then we're gonna come and do another stitch length. So our stitch length from here to here, we want it to be the same as from here to over here. So I'm gonna come down about right here. I'm gonna get that white out of the way first. And then we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna keep this loop open and come up in this same spot. Oh my goodness. And pull that. And we're gonna do that all the way around. Just to kind of fill that space and kind of clean up our lines a little bit. Now, if you pull this way, it doesn't lay as flat as if you pull it tight towards where you're coming from. Does that make sense? But the working thread out here should always be on the outer edge of your circle. You don't want to have like the loop this way. It'll change the direction of your like swirl that's being created, and it won't look as clean. Now, if you started it with your loop going the other way, then just keep going that way. But I feel like with circles, if you're doing a stem stitch in a circle, it lays a lot better if you keep your loop on the outer edge. Janice says, I'm already behind, but I can't wait to get started. We've got some fun stitches coming up. I mean, this one's fun too, but I'm excited about this one. Okay. I think 2 more and we'll be good. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to come to the outer edge of this first stitch we made and just go all the way down. There. Okay, that's our first building. All done. done. All right, so tomorrow we will just work our way up. I will finish drawing this and we will just start working on these details here, and then we'll work on our house. So plan on this part tomorrow and let me know if you have questions today. Thanks for joining. Have a great day.